To the Draft Brewery. This is Dr. Chris Baker, DC. Today we got analysis of the Round 5 Gauntlet, played by Brennan. But first, we're going to do Deck Tech. Loyal Boros, basically aggro version of Boros that featured Loyal Pegasus as a new card from Born of the Gods. I had the chance to update this deck with Journey into Nyx being included, and the best red and white cards that I thought were going to come out of the set were like Satyr Hoplite, the 1/1 hero guy, Rouse the Mob, and a Johnny's Presence, and none of them quite make the cut here. I haven't tested out those cards enough to know if they're going to be good enough, but the Hoplite is an easy exclude because it's not a heroic deck. I just think God's Willing is better than a Johnny's Presence when you're not a heroic deck as well. It can't stop a lot of the different effects like Stab Wound and Pacifism, so it's just doesn't scry, It's very, very similar, and if, you need like 5 through 8 effects that are potentially good at making your guys survive, then you do want them. But I don't think they're that good, so much that I even put 2 God's Willing that I had main in the sideboard because I just want it to be more proactive with this deck, since I just need creatures to help out the Pegasus, let it attack, and more haste creatures are great. So let's see. Rouse the Mob could very well be good if they're trying to block, but a lot of my creatures just have evasion, or I can just burn them out, and it doesn't turn on Loyal Pegasus. So don't think I need those guys. I did include, though, moving 2 Keening Apparition to the main because there's tons of enchantment-based decks now. I put 2 God's Willing in the side. I also took out 2 Shocks from the side and put in, I think, some Revoke Existences to really, again, help with the black font and just in general Ethereal Armor based decks, just to have more answers to those guys, since those cards are really powerful if they all combine. I think I also cut 2 Chandra's Outrage. This deck is only 20 lands, and it's not really trying to get to 4 mana very often, but the deck's really simple. You just try to curve out with a lot of creatures that have either Evasion, Pegasus, Skyjack. King Apparition is just for all those enchantments. Syndicatize is just great at being able to win the race, lock up games where they stall us on the ground. It's basically unblockable damage. This guy's pretty good just because combination of First Strike and some of our removal spells and just having 3 power for 2 mana is pretty aggressive. And because we can usually play a haste guy on turn 3, if we go turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, Battalion is something that lets them get past all the other, 2 and 3 toughness guys in the format. The haste guys are, I think, what make this deck really good. Skull Cleaver, the Legionnaire, and the First Blade. They just present, turns that your opponent thinks they have to stabilize. It's like if they have a creature, it's fine because I can play my blocker next turn or kill it next turn, and a lot of the times, haste messes up their combat math. But yeah, so the 2 God's Willing on the side, mainly because there's just a lot of decks out there that aren't even playing very much removal. They're just playing a sort of combo-y type game. And not 4 Shocks either. Shocks, just like Freaka's Cure and Dimir Mill, misses. It doesn't have a lot of targets as the game goes on. Can always hit the player, which is why I think it's also better than Magma Spray. I guess Magma Spray was on my top 10 list, but when Shock's around, the exile is just not relevant enough, and being able to go to the face is just way better. Alright, another thing to keep in mind here, this is a 2-color aggro deck. and I play 4 guild gates. I've tested it out, like just cutting the 4 guild gates, adding 2 plains, adding 2 mountains. And it's just weird. You'd rather have the extra colored sources, I think, than lose like 1 turn of tempo in standard power, because you'll be able to play most of your spells if you at least hit 1 of your mana, since nothing really takes double red or double white except for the flares in the sideboard. But you'd need both colors. This deck can't function as a mono white deck, and it can't function as a mono red deck. So this just lowers the likelihood that that happens to us, that we only draw like 1 color, like 3 or 4 mountains and no plains, or vice versa. Yeah, I think we added the whips in the sideboard here too. Just a bad omission by my part, but if there's a deck like Dimir Mill that can answer a ton of creatures, it's good to have these as diversified threats, because our creatures are still really good against them, but these are just unblockable creatures, pretty much, that are really hard to deal with. So, that's about it. We've seen these other sideboard cards before. Let's check out the match. Again, I haven't seen it. I just saw that it got posted pretty recently, 24 minutes about for this video. I think that bodes well in general for this deck. We don't want it to go very long. So, let's see. Never really seen Brennan on trying to play 5 p.m. here. Skip ahead till the match starts. Beatnik Bobby, great. Beatnik Bobby typically plays Bant, Hexproof, Control. This hand is actually really good, yep. Turn 1, Boros, Guildgate. Turn 2, Syndic of Ties. Hope to draw land in 2 turns, and then we can start playing some haste creatures. Yeah. Side note, I don't really like this match is official once I start the video, because if our opponent literally just said, I have an emergency, I need to leave right now, then, you know, the Loyal Boros deck gets a free win. It's like, it's just really weird when the opponent has no vested interest in the match. Okay, so I think shocking there, that's not what I would have done. I would have been riskier and curved out. I would have used my mana better, played the Syndic, taken 3 damage. What? This is definitely not right. Like, the faster the Syndic is in play, the more you get to extort. Extorting is just, can't be undervalued enough. Alright, so like that's just really bad. Predator Sliver is not that good. So far, he shows to be mono green. Yeah, you could have 2 3/3s, but you still could have killed it at that point. You should have not traded. You could have played First Blade, and then what's he going to do? Block the chump? No, he'll take it. He'll play Predator Sliver, bash you for 3. But then you can just make the same play next turn with a different haste creature and just kind of win the race. Yeah, so like, I feel like this could have happened last turn. Yeah. I would definitely God's Willing. Give it protection from green. See, I guess a Johnny's Presence would be just as good right there too. Except the Johnny's Present did draw us a card. That basically drew us a card to put that land on bottom. That's actually really weird. Because we had protection from green, we couldn't be targeted, which means we didn't get to fight and kill his guys still, so we didn't really get to 2-for-1 him. Yeah, so it's almost like we could have just traded if we really wanted to. Instead, we just got an extra 2 damage in. That's not the best draw, but look, like, this is like classic Brennan. Doesn't want to play the best card first in Dimir Mill if that's his bounty. Doesn't want to play Syndic of Ties on turn 2. And then look, he's got this one floating Boros Guildgate mana, which could have been an Extort. All those little edges are just... That's the importance of these games. So who cares, like, let's say, you know, I played turn 2 Syndic and he attacks with a 3-2. Right now, you know, if I played the game very similarly after that, I'm just at 3 less life. I don't think I care if I'm at 3 less life. Yes, yeah, that's a problem. Jeez. I hope he blocks. I'm not sure about that attack though, because you kind of signaled to him that you have something to deal with the Asp. And now, if the Asp attacks, I don't think we're really winning this race anymore. Ouch, that hurts. I guess you just Lightning Strike his 2-2. Or, no. Oh yeah, this is really good. We're dealing 2 damage from the Syndic of Ties. So he just let us 2 for 2 and we got an Extort off. Wow. So that, in general, is just a really bad play by Beatnik Blowing. No CCG fan, we would not like to trade. Yep, you're blocked. Don't bother me, Brennan says. I'm doing important work here. What else do we got? Just trading 2 for 2, which is fine. He's down to 1 card in hand, and we just... Yeah. See, 3-2 first strike, his 2-2 can't even trade. He gets to trade with our first blade that already did his value attack earlier in the game. It's an attack. He probably has a pump spell, but I would just send with everything and trade a creature for a pump spell. Either way, he's taking at least 4 damage. Probably doesn't have anything if he blocks there. There are only +1/+1. That is totally fine. Yeah. Those blocks are really bad next turn. I actually just started brewing with some mono green lists and some green blue lists. The Ranger's got, just again, like the way this format is, not very many decks are trying to target your guys with removal spells. And if they are, then you want it out of the sideboard, I think. Okay, so he's dead. We have 4 flyers. For damage of flying. Nine. You show plummet. But there it doesn't. Alright, so we have to worry when we think about sideboarding about big creatures, and pit fight as a way to interact. I think Celestial Flare is really good because it kills Messian Ask. So like we can just attack with a flyer, right? And he has to block with Ask, because that's the only thing that has reach. First Blades are good, Halberdiers are good, anything with flying is good. Shock is okay because it can kill Predatory Sliver before it gets out of control. Keening Apparition is bad. No, I would not. No. Outrage is a little slow. I cut 4 Keening Apparition for 4 Celestial Flare really easily. I don't think God's Blowing does anything. I mean, it has Pit Fight, but a lot of the times Pit Fight is trading for his guys too. He does have the 4/4, which is why I brought in the Outrage. I'm fine with bringing in Outrage. Alright, that looks like a mulligan. I guess this looks like a keep. Keening Apparition is just a 2/2 for 2. It's just worse than Predatory Sliver. I would not be a fan of keeping it in this matchup. Our opponent didn't even show us any bestow effects at all. So like in this position, Celestial Flare and Keening Apparition are very similar too, because they could just trade or kill a guy. And even in this spot, I don't like leading with Keening Apparition. I like leading with Daring Skyjack, because if he attacks into you, and you block, and he has Ranger's Guile, which he's already shown, it's a removal spell. If you don't block, you're probably going to play a creature, and then you can't attack anyway. So like, we can attack, because it's a trade, but we don't necessarily want to trade attacking him for 2 and then taking 5 when we've already taken 3. Like, we're on the draw. We are the defense. What? Okay. Like, we're already in defense mode. So personally, I have no idea why you wouldn't block this Centaur guy. Like, I would have played Daring Skyjack and blocked with the Skyjack, so that even if he has the Ranger's Guile, that they trade. So what that does, it leaves his Ranger's Guile in hand longer, which isn't really that big of a deal. The only cards that it solves are the Chandra's Outrages and the Shocks and Lightning Strikes. Which is, again, another reason for showing me that Ranger's Guile. It's another reason why I like 4 Celestial Flare. We're playing against big green dudes. Well, I'm guessing that Reef Crown Dryad is a sideboard card since it helps him deal with our very loyal Pegasi and our Legionnaires. And our Skyjacks. So I was thinking about killing the Leaf Crown Dryad. Personally, you never do this unless you want to attack a foil. I guess you attack a red, yeah. So then you just can't block the 2 flyers, and we'll just trade these 2/2. When it goes to trade, you can God's Will and give it card rain. I think you're fine either way. I think you're fine trading and holding up God's Willing, because then next turn you play Daring Skyjack and then you have 3 flyers in play. Pretty much. And then all you want to do is make sure that he doesn't kill one of those guys. Right? Because if he kills one of those guys, you don't get the time and he can't fly. So, my logic says don't God's Willing. Because the Skull Cleaver as a creature, throughout the rest of the game, is a 2/2. It just doesn't matter. Right now, it can attack into the 3/2, which is nice. But our opponent's on 4 mana. If he 5 mana, Messian Ask, or the 4/4, and we're just completely direct, yeah. So now if our opponent plays pit fight. It's real bad. Like next turn. So we're in a spot now where I would play Skyjack and pass. Yeah, I mean we drew a card there by putting that land to the bottom, which is, again, my Godswing is pretty good in this deck. Yeah, there's no... This is another thing I think you gotta realize in this deck. Oh my gosh, he's bashing. That can't be a good play. He's at 15 life. He's letting him like trade and kill a guy for 5 damage. But for 4 damage? Ugh. That's like really not what we needed. We didn't need to lose a flyer for free when he's not, like, if we did that play again, he'd be at 9, and then we can't attack anymore. So the follow-ups are just like not strong enough, not putting him at low enough life total to do that. So you'd rather like flood the board with creatures. See, it's like we drew, don't Skyjack, our deck is mainly creatures. I guess it does help when you know we have some shocks and Chomper's Outrages and Lightning Strikes to get him as low as possible. And he was like tapped out, so we're like guaranteeing the 4 damage, but I would not have sacrificed the Daring Skyjack. It's worth more than sacrificing at that spot, I think. But the way Brandon's playing this game, he's probably going to attack with all 3 creatures this turn and get a Skyjack eaten again just to deal 4 damage. And he might proactively use God's Willing to save the Skyjack, which could be really bad if we have a pit fight in hand on the opposing side. Well, he's a Zabber. Right. I think that's fine. Overall, our opponent could still be at 15. We could have 3 more creatures in play, and he has a dumb 2/2 in play. Aerial Predation. I'm not sure why our opponent took 2 damage before trying to do that if we didn't have God's Willing. You know, he just took 2 damage for no reason then. And then 1 card in hand. You can't play like a better flyer the following turn. So look at the... Yeah, I was gonna say, the problem here, he leaves the 8/9 back. We're gonna put him down to 3, so he's dead if we draw a Lightning Strike. We're in a weird spot now. Because if we don't attack, then eventually he can win the race by making us chump attack, so yeah, we gotta attack. Before I go to 3. Guitars, we have plenty of white mana, which is good for our extort value. He's down to only 1 card in hand. He can't attack with the ass because we attack with both our guys. He goes to 1 and then he's dead, then he's spell. He can't actually attack with the Centaur either unless he drew a removal spell or another creature. lands. Just sounds like just about right. So here, I think you just attack with both the flyers, put them to 1. That Pegasus is not looking good at that point, but then he's just dead to any spell. So like it puts him on having Pit Fight. You know, cast it out of Pit Fight. Otherwise he's gonna die to our top deck. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you attack with both the flyers from the 1. And then worst case scenario, he Pit Fights our guy, but then he still can't attack. Yeah, actually he can, because Lord Pegasus will be the only creature we have in play. No attack? If you no attack, then that's interesting. Yeah, another reach blocker means I can't get in that. Yeah, see? I like that attack. Last turn. Now we can extort, put him to 2. You start putting him to 2 and you attack with everybody. And he's dead if he doesn't have anything. Feels bad to be in these spots sometimes, though. Like, it is really interesting. Brennan's line very well could have been better than mine when he just started from 15 life and just swing in, sacrifice Skyjack, deal damage, deal damage, deal damage. That's probably actually the best strategy for this deck. And he executed it very, very well all the way up until last turn when he just stopped that strategy. Like, I wonder why. So I think he figures it's like, we just draw a shock or lightning strike or Shawnee's Outrage, I guess Shawnee's Outrage isn't live. What? I don't like playing nothing. At least play your freaking mountain. I don't like this. I don't like taking damage either. Now you're like... and he's just trying... Yeah, now we're... Alright, at least he plays the good. You have to play your creature. Play your creature and extort. It takes all 4 mana. Dude, if you draw another spell next turn, we're not going to be able to do 2 things in 1 turn. Just play it. He is never attacking with his Messing Mask. Yeah. So again, if you attack with everybody, and he has nothing, he's just dead. Oh, dude. That's really bad. The opponent shouldn't concede in response to a haste creature. Like, think about it. Okay, you revealed his hand as forest or whatever, but think, we've seen Pit Fight. A quick way for us to lose that match is to attack with everything, hoping he has nothing. And he just goes block, 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 Predatory Sliver, blocks the Skull Cleaver, they trade. Death Bolt Road, blocks, let's see. Syndicatize, Messer Math blocks Sky Knight, Legionnaire, and then he just like pit fights the Messer Math to the Pegasus. He takes 0 damage, kills every creature we have, and he has 11 power in play, surviving. Which means next turn he attacks for 8, loses 3/2 back in case we have a haste creature. He's only dead to Strike Shock and a flying haste creature, so one of our Legionnaires. So he's down to like, I don't know, like we have like 7 outs at that point. But the opponent scooped and didn't even like make us make the attack because I maybe am more conservative at that point. I don't want to lose the game if he has a spell in hand. And he'd been holding 1 card in hand for a long time. So I might have just not attacked. The game would have gone on and the opponent maybe could have drawn out of it. But I'm happy that we won, happy we got there. Very interesting to see the aggressive line of play. I think do much better than I thought it would. It might have been just as fine to wait and build up a huge board and then do a couple big swings, but yeah, you can see once you start that path, that line, you just want to keep doing it to get them as low as possible. Overall, both of my decks, Dominion, Lore, Boros, escaped round 5 unscathed. Good luck to the other, there's like 3 other decks still alive. Good luck to those guys, and we'll see who lives on in with the legend. We'll see who gets crushed. Hopefully we can be one of the last remaining. If you guys have any questions, feel free to throw them down in the comments. Overall, pretty good game by Brennan. And this deck is just working pretty well. Seems like all of the card choices were fun. Alright, thanks for watching.